During the service, we started with the text Eile Chamda Libi, which means this is what my heart really desires. And the second line, which I didn't have a chance to translate, is Chusana ve'al natita lem. Have compassion, but also don't be hidden. Don't hide yourself. So we really want to hear you singing with us. That text, even though we sang a new melody tonight, you might recognize it from a 60s Israeli version. Eile Chamda Libi, Chusana ve'anatita lem. 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 Eile Chamda Libi, Chusana ve'anatita lem.
Hold on. I learned from you to go, Eile Chamda Li. What is that? Chamda Li. What's that all about?
That's a cantorial move. Yeah, cantors do it. So I called it, I named it actually. I don't get royalties or anything, but I named it. I called it a trap door. So it's hum. You got two notes that are the same, but there's a trap door in between the two notes, like hum, da libi, da libi. Try it.
Chamda Libi.
In context, Eile Chamda Libi.
Eile Chamda Libi.
I pronounce you cantors. Dominus lacridus secrimus.
Eile Chamda Libi, Chusana ve'anatita lem. Eile Chamda Libi, Chusana ve'anatita lem. Here comes the high part. Eile Chamda Libi, Chusana ve'anatita, Chusana ve'anatita. Eile Chamda Libi, Chusana ve'anatita lem. Eile Chamda Libi, Chusana ve'anatita lem.
And we got a newfangled one.
So the way this one goes, you remember it? We sang Eile Chamda Libi, Eile Chamda Libi. Then we go a little higher. Eile Chamda Libi, Eile Chamda Libi. The new and the old. Eile Chamda Libi, Chamda Libi, Eile Chamda Libi, Eile Chamda Libi, Eile Chamda Libi. Oh, Chusana ve'anatita lem. Three more times. Chusana ve'anatita lem. And in the camps, in the summer camps, they sing it like this. Chusana ve'anatita. Come come out wherever you are. That's what, try that. Come out wherever you are. Okay, I'll sing. Husana ve'anati. Come out wherever you are. Husana ve'anati. Come out wherever you are. Oh, Eile Hamdani, Eile Hamdani, Eile Hamdani, Eile Hamdani. Keep singing Eile Hamdani, Eile Hamdani, Eile Hamdani, Eile Hamdani. Oh, Eile Hamdani, Eile Hamdani, oh, Eile Hamdani.
Hey, everybody. How we doing? What a pleasure to be with you all tonight. I'm just like, you've knocked me out for a long time, but we just really got to meet. We met years ago briefly, but you've got it. You've just got the stuff that adds so much to you would add to any community's vibe. You added so much to us for Shabbat services. Noah Aronson, I'm so glad you're here.
Nice
Thank you for
be
being
here.
here.
Nice to meet you. Yes.
And we thought we would, after having had a Shabbat service with explosive, joyous music, just kind of all the colors of the rainbow, hopefully, and then some. That we would dial it back a little bit and have like a musically oriented discussion, a discussion about Jewish music, congregational Jewish music, where it has been, where it is now, where it might be going. So I thought we would begin by providing a little bit of personal context for what brought us three here. If the question is, how did we all get involved in the industry of Jewish music or Jewish congregational music, I'll take a crack at it first. I will tell you that I was born into a family where the sound of Jewish congregational music was everywhere. My father was already an established cantor. My mother, Cantor Freda Mendelssohn, who is also here. Love you. Thanks for being here. Was an established opera singer, a mezzo-soprano. She sang all over the world, and later became a cantor herself. And everywhere around me was cantorial music, and the sound of davening, of praying in a congregation. I learned it because I experienced it. The sound was in the air week after week as I got older in shul and at home. And I loved it so much, but maybe felt a little bit overly, through no fault of anyone's, shepherded into it. That this is, cantorial, it could be with music, you play piano, you can sing, and there was a lot of that, and it was all from love, but I was so young, and I knew there was something going on for me musically, Jewishly and musically, but I didn't want to be like taken there. I wanted to discover it on my own. It's easier said than done. That's not really how real life works. It may work like that in the movies. It's not really. You learn from experience. But as I got older, I was looking for exit ramps. I loved cinema, so I went to film school, became a director, became a filmmaker. Loved that. I'm still passionate about it to this day, but I always felt the tug back to Jewish music, congregational life. It just was always calling. And when I tried to compose, I couldn't get inspired about anything except Jewish liturgical music. Nothing would be a spark for me. And so I had a position, a weekly Shabbat position in holidays, and then I ended up here, and that's what brings me to this moment. I'm here with you all right now. So that's me. That's my story in a nutshell. Noah, how about you?
Wow. Yeah, it's like we have so much in common, too, because my father was also a cantor for 47 years in one congregation in South Orange, New Jersey. Is this in your way? Sorry. 47 years in one community. And so I'm hearing your story, and I'm like, oh, that's so much my story, too, where I felt the pull, but I was like, but that's not for me. I don't do Jewish music. And I went to Berklee College of Music to study composition. I studied piano and jazz composition there. And I wasn't going to do Jewish music. I was going to do real music, and I was not really. But on the side, I had a synagogue gig in Wellesley, Massachusetts. On Sunday mornings, I would work with the kids, and on Friday nights, I was the piano accompanist for Friday night services. And all the while, I was studying composition in school, and I had no intention. But then the cantor of that community, her name was Cantor Jody Suffren, she kind of took me under her wing. She saw something in me, and she decided to kind of start to help nurture that. It just so happened that my father taught her when she was in cantorial school in 1983. And so she became it became a nice close relationship. And she started encouraging me to write melodies for the congregation. And I hadn't really considered doing that. And so I started doing that. And then the first couple melodies I wrote, I started hearing the congregation singing back what I had written in my bedroom a couple days before. And I was really amazed by that. I was really enamored with the idea that we can, not just write music, just to be heard, but that it's done in service. I thought that was really beautiful. And then the other thing that led me there is also I went to, they sent me to Havana Shira, which was a Debbie Friedman's birthing. She wanted to create a camp setting for people learning how to create music for camps, for summer camps. And so I went there and learned how to, a lot of the music for camps, and learned from Debbie Friedman at the time and all of these different people. I saw Craig Taubman, who's also a very well-known name. I see a lot of head nods, So I heard and saw these people for the first time, and I was like, oh, I could start to see my place in all of these things. Because before that, I saw the cantorial path, but I didn't really see a different, more expansive path for what I wanted to be doing. And so to be able to merge the two was actually kind of how I got to be doing this. Yeah.
And Dad, if I may say, if I was lovingly, which I was, not shepherded, but there was there was a feeling of this is such a beautiful thing, and we love when you sing. You were just kind of like, you didn't have much of a choice, did you?
No, I was. When I was born. I was born in 1946, so when I was a kid growing up, everybody knew Eastern European cantorial music. The bus drivers, the cab drivers, whether they were Jewish or not. Everybody in the neighborhood, the Italians, they all had a Yossela Rosenblatt recording, that was my mother's milk. I mean, Mom and Dad were lovers of Eastern European chazanut, particularly my mother. I mean, we were Orthodox, and if there was a cantor and a choir that were performing on Shabbat 5 miles away, she would walk with her high heels. In those days, they didn't change into sneakers and then put on the heels. And we all lagged behind her. We couldn't catch. She was dying, to hear this, and so I had the voice. As a kid, I was an alto, and I eventually sang in choirs. When I was 4, we had a sukkah, and this very famous cantor, his name was Berla Chagi. Chagi was a very famous cantor, made a lot of recordings, and he ate in our sukkah. So my mother, of course, was a huge stage mom. I'm 4, and she said, Jackie, you're going to sing for Cantor Chagi. I could barely talk, and there was one song that I knew, and I sang it, and he said in Yiddish, and he put his arm around me and he looked at my mother, Zol wachsen a chazen, he will grow to be a cantor. And so
Do you remember what that song was?
Was that?
Do you remember what that song was?
Yeah, it was a song that a little boy would sing at a wedding. It's called Vimale.
Vimale, yeah.
Vimale Mishalo, may all the wishes be granted, all your wishes be granted, in this case for the bride and groom. So a boy would dress up as a cantor with a little white gown, a little white mitre on his head, and a tallis.
A Vimale boy.
And that he was known as a Vimale boy. Yeah. So I'd walk down the aisle singing, Vimale, Mishalosenu, Bemidotova, Yeshua verachamim. Bemidot, walking down the Bemidot, and I'd get to the chuppah, and I'd put my hands up like a Kohen, like that, like a priest thing, and I'd sing Yeshua veracha. 3 breaths in 1 word. Then I'd walk back down the aisle, collect my $5, eat as much of the smorgasbord as I could stuff down, and then they'd drive me to the next wedding, and I'd do another Vimale. Weekends were busy, especially around June, and I'd do 2 Vimales on a Saturday night and 3 on a Sunday. So I would get $15 in those days. My father had a kosher delicatessen, Sachs and Mendelssohn's Deli, big neon sign, S&M Deli. It was an innocent time. And that's right. And we, corned beef sandwich, and my father laid it on thick, 65 cents. Okay? 25, 30 bucks now.
Oh my goodness.
In a good
Don't
deli.
get me started.
So I had $15 to spend. That was, but I didn't have to pay because my father had the deli. That's another
You mentioned that everybody knew the sound of Eastern European cantorial music.
They all knew it.
Everybody, the waiter, the busboy, the driver, everybody. And that's not really the case today. People don't know the sound. We have to put it in the air to them because it's not in the air. And I guess one of the ways I try to put it in the air, and I dare to say I may not always do it as as satisfyingly as you might imagine me to do. It's hard, but I try to do tastes of that sound, and I try to link them to pieces of Jewish liturgical music, settings of Jewish liturgical music that we all love to sing and get down and groove to on Friday night. And one of them is Lechune Ranana by Nava Tehillah. It's a wonderful Israeli group, and they specialize in Jewish liturgical music. And rather than just singing the groove, I always like to start it off with a little bit of that sound. That sound that's tied in with the nusach, the musical modalities for Kabbalat Shabbat. There's a nusach for all the holidays. It's sort of our temperature, the way we take the musical temperature of where we're at in the calendar year.
It's called chazonis. Can you say it? Chazonis.
Chazunis.
Chazonis. Chazan. 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 Not cantor. Not cantor. Chazan.
It's in the word.
Chazan. Yeah.
It's in the word, so we might as well do some of it, right? Every once in a while.
So how do you introduce?
So I keep it in the nusach. So lechu neranena, raise a shout to our Redeemer. Come, let us sing joyously to the Eternal. Lechu neranena ladonai nariya letzorishenu is the basic nusach for the moment.
Right.
So I sort of spice it up with a little extra sauce. Lechu neranena ladonai nariya letzorishenu. Lechu neranena ladonai nariya letzorishenu. Lechu neranena ladonai nariya letzorishenu. Nekadma fanav v'toda b'zmirot nariya lo. Nekadma fanav v'toda b'zmirot nariya lo. Lechu neranena ladonai nariya letzorishenu. Lechu neranena ladonai nariya letzorishenu. Nekadma fanav v'toda b'zmirot nariya lo. Nekadma fanav v'toda b'zmirot nariya lo.
40 שנה כות בדור, יאמר המתום לא ידעו דרכי אשר נשבעתי ביפי. אם יבואון על מנוחתי לכו
Neranena ladonai nariya letzorishenu. Lechu neranena ladonai nariya letzorishenu. Nekadma fanav v'toda b'zmirot nariya lo. Nekadma fanav v'toda b'zmirot nariya lo. Lechu neranena ladonai nariya letzorishenu.
It's amazing that our liturgy on Kabbalat Shabbat starts with that word, Lechu neranena. It's like, I believe, I'm also a big dancer. I'm a singer and a dancer. I think these are pre-verbal. These are things that we've done as humans. Before we even knew how to communicate in words, we were singing and we were dancing. It's so primal. And so, of course, our Friday night liturgy starts with Lechu neranena. The first thing is, let's sing. Doesn't matter necessarily what we sing, but we're gathered here to sing. Someone I was sitting with at the table for dinner was saying, I come for the music. Does anybody else resonate with that? I come for community, I come for the music, because where else do we get to sing together? It's a little sad that we don't just go into each other's homes anymore and just sing, right? So we come here. We come and we gather and we sing together. And one of the things that I think is being done very beautifully here is the merging between the high art of chazanut that we grew up hearing, like this really, really beautiful chazanut, and then also it's also us, and it's tangible. It's for us too, right? It's not just separated. For a long time, chazanut was this art form that was like a separated thing that we would just say amen, right? The chazan would sing, and then we would
Wait
just say
until
amen.
you say amen. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're just like sitting there waiting.
Exactly. And God forbid you're a Sephardic. The Sephardic would take you 2 hours to get to the end of that sentence.
But like in Reform, you'd wait till the organ finished to say amen or something, you know.
But so what's happening here, and I noticed it as soon as we started tonight, it's like we have the combination of this really, really powerful chazanut and also the communal singing piece. That feels very new to me, and that feels like this keva kavana mixed. Like this feels like we are holding on to the tradition, and we're also keeping it alive in this moment too.
Yeah.
I mean, also when chazanut really began, it was before the printing press, so no one had a siddur. Except a handwritten siddur that maybe the rabbi had in the cantor.
No one had a prayer book, yeah.
No one had a prayer book.
Yeah.
So the chazan would sing and sing and sing and sing, and they would say at the end,
Amen.
Amen.
it was hard for them to do anything else. They didn't have the words.
But that's what it was then. That's what was known, and that was loved in its way. But I feel, people ask me, when your parents are in shul, it's so wonderful. And it is wonderful. It's a blessing, a blessing of the highest magnitude. And I'm your son, but you're a legend. You're a legend in this field. You're just an absolute badass legend. I'm just saying it. And it's intimidating sometimes because I want it, when I'm having a moment like that, I want to do it justice. I want to do justice to, and you probably know something about this too with your dad, who is an amazing cantor, an amazing chazan. I want to make sure I'm carrying the legacy. I want to make sure I'm carrying the torch of what I've learned, and also carrying the torch of shepherding a modern reform experience. Which is what this is and must be in terms of the host. The host experiences of a modern reform experience. But Chazanut can now be a guest. Chazanut used to be the host and only the host.
And then eventually, there were a little bit of congregation singing seeped in. And one of the first was the refrain of Lecha Dodi.
Oh, yeah.
The refrain, not the verses. The verses were sung in chazanut, in the nusach, in the musical modality of the prayers, and in a sort of a cantorial manner. But then, Lecha Dodi, there were all kinds of tunes. The most famous would be Lewandowski. Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat. Who remembers it? Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Then the congregation would daven the first paragraph. Sounded like bumblebees.
They daven.
Then the chazan. Give me a hum. Give me get ready for a new hum. Adonai Echad. Shema Echad. Shemo Tiferet Tehila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. So this brings me to a class that I team teach at HUC, Cantorial School, Debbie Friedman School of Sacred Music. So Ilana Arian and I, Noah's writing partner,
many pieces.
She does things herself, he does things, of course, himself, but they write stuff together, some amazing stuff. And Ilana, who's on the faculty of HUC, and I do this course. It's called Improvisation Integration, where my job is to try and take a popular melody sung in a Reformed congregation and to see if I can somehow do some relatable chazanut and then get back to the melody of today. And I had the colossal nerve to try and do it with Alana's Lechadodi. and it goes something like this. Now we know her Lechadodi. Lechadodi, right? Likrat kala, pene Shabbat, lekabela.
Lechadodi, likrat kala, pene Shabbat, lekabela. One more time. Lechadodi, likrat kala, pene Shabbat, nekabela. Lechadodi, likrat kala, pene Shabbat, nekabela.
Then she goes, Shamo v'zachor b'diburecha, right? Ishmianu el ha-meyuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad,
L'shem u'tiferet v'nitila. Lechadodi, likrat kala, pene Shabbat, nekabela.
One more time.
Lechadodi, likrat kala, pene Shabbat, nekabela.
So I had the nerve to do this in front of Ilana. So I want you to do the chazanut in between the verses. So you just follow me. You ready? Shamo v'zachor b'dibur echad. Sing it.
Shamo v'zachor b'dibur echad.
Ishmi'anu. Let's go.
Ishmi'anu
Elam yuchad.
Elam yuchad.
I'm not hearing the kishkis here. Listen. Elam yuchad. Let's go.
Elam yuchad.
Adonai echad.
Adonai echad.
Shemo echad.
U'shemo echad.
Shemo tiferet v'nitehila. Go.
L'shem u'tiferet v'nitehila. Lechadodi, likrat kala, pene Shabbat, nekabela. Lechadodi, likrat kala, pene Shabbat, nekabela.
Likrat Shabbat.
Likrat Shabbat. Lechu v'necha. Imkor. Haberacha. Merosh mikedem nesucha. Sof maaseh.
I forgot the words,
B'machshavat. I forgot the words. B'machshavat.
Lechadodi.
Likrat kala, pene Shabbat, nekabela. Lechadodi, likrat kala, pene Shabbat, nekabela.
It makes me think. There's a piece on the High Holy Days that I sometimes offer at the synagogue that I work at in Boston, and it's a setting of a Janowski prayer. Janowski is pretty much his sound is the sound that we know of High Holy Day sound. You know, what's the most famous Max Janowski song that we know?
Avinu
Not, not the Barbara Streisand Avinu Malkeinu, the Janowski Avinu Malkeinu.
Avinu Malkeinu. Is that right? That's his?
Avinu Malkeinu.
No, that's his. That's what I'm saying. His is the Barbara Streisand version.
His is, yeah.
I thought you were saying
Too many people just know it as the Barbara Streisand version. That's all I'm saying.
Janowski was the one who wrote that one. So his sound is the sound that we know of as the High Holy Day music. But I was singing in the choir for High Holy Days, and so I learned all the choral parts that our synagogue choir was singing. But so I only learned the tenor parts, and so I got the tenor part of one of the Janowski choral parts in my head, and then I kind of started going home and playing with it, and then I was like, okay, what we did in Boston is we decided to take everything that the choir was doing, and we wanted to give it more to the congregation. So it took me about 10 years to kind of disentangle some of it, because we had a High Holy Day service that was very traditional, and the plan was, how do we bring it down more to the people? And now actually what we're trying to do is, how do we make sure that there's still majesty in it, right? So that's the goal, is we have to always have majesty as well. But so I started to kind of deconstruct some of the music. And so I took this one Janowski prayer, but we made sure that there's still some chazanut piece in it, and then there was also a piece that we could have for the congregation as well. So the part that was the congregational moment, this is before we start beating our chest. Chatanu Avinu Pasha Chatanu Avinu Pashanu. So that was originally a 4-part choral arrangement. That's just one part extracted. Chatanu Avinu Pashanu. Chatanu Avinu Pashanu. Forgive me if I get some of these wrongs. Please forgive me if I get the words wrong of this. Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, tavo lefanecha tfilatenu. ואל תתעלם מתחייתנו, שאין אנחנו עזפנים וקשי עורף לומר לפניך. אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, צדיקים אנחנו ולא חטאנו, אבל אנחנו חטאנו אבינו חטאנו אבינו We also do, just while we're in the now I get high holiday mode, I have to continue. We also tried to find a way to this. Is this the same melody that you sing for Shema? Shema Yisrael Adonai Elohim Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Finding ways to keep it elevated, but also still make it possible for us to engage as a community. That's the whole name of the game now.
That's the whole bag right there.
Yeah. That's the first time I've ever gotten applause for that. Thank you. That was amazing.
Well
Wow.
deserved. But it's interesting, the folk Avinu, Avinu Malkeinu, which we all know. And then it took, in a way, Barbara Streisand recording the Janowski, Avinu Malkeinu, to kind of repopularize it and bring it to the masses. It became almost, in a way, it was a hit, and it felt modern all of a sudden because Barbara did it, and she did it masterfully. Similar to how Luciano Pavarotti took Nessun Dorma, which had been around for a long time, and it exploded when he sang it. And sometimes that's what, but we're always looking for ways to, I guess, modernize or bring a sound to the forefront, a new sound. And we create new sounds by looking at our old sounds. I remember at my previous synagogue in Rockville Center, I had a lovely guy who will go nameless. We were having a conversation. We were having kind of a back and forth. I was trying to get instrumentation. It was a conservative, egalitarian, but conservative, old school kind of a synagogue. We did not have instruments on Friday night, certainly not Saturday morning, and I was trying to get instruments once a month, and that was sort of just, they weren't looking to do that. There were people who wanted it, but they were getting overruled by more people, so eventually I said, well, how about we just have, in the summertime, when Shabbat starts later, we'll do a Kabbalat Shabbat for about an hour where we can plug in, and then by the time we get to Baruch Hu, we plug out and we do the rest without. And it was this back and forth. And at one point he responded to me in an email, and he wrote, "I love your idea. It's a great idea. I think we're not going to do that. But what would be great is if you could do what you're talking about through use of vocalization." And at first I thought to myself, through use of vocalization. Okay, am I going to clone myself 5 or 6 times, and one of me will beatbox, and one of me will do harmonies, and one of me will... What do we talk with through use of I'm one person, and I've got a lectern in front of me, and I can bang on it and try to get people to move, but it's just, I got one voice, I got one instrument. But later on I came to realize that the sound of a conservative or Orthodox experience in shul, when it's magic, it's the sound of everyone kind of vocalizing together. It's use of vocalization. Everybody's singing, everyone's davening together. It's created through use of vocalization. And I don't know that that's a sound that we want to have. I don't think we want to have a wall-to-wall sound like that in a modern Reform congregation, but it's nice to have some of it, to find some of those opportunities to sing together. We don't always have to depend on being plugged in to do it. And that's kind of this area of back and forth. It's sort of it's an ongoing process. I don't want congregational music to feel like a death march. That's a blunt way of saying it, but I've seen it, I've heard it, and I won't have it. I won't have it for Kol Ami. I won't. But it also shouldn't necessarily be a Madison Square Garden rock concert. Sometimes I think it needs to be it has to have moments that are concert moments. But there's a balance, and it's a hard thing to figure out. It's a hard thing to figure out. How do you feel about that balance?
Well, I davened a cappella
Microphone.
I davened a cappella my entire career. I was just thinking the other day, I did 61 high holidays a cappella. And I was lucky for some years I had a quartet.
Yeah.
I had a quartet of fine singers that helped me. But that it's hard. It's tough to sing a cappella. But on the other hand, I'd open up the prayer book, and I have a lot of experience, so I can improvise. I can improvise. Using all the music that I've learned over the years, I can kind of homogenize it and then get up there and just see where the words take me. So, in that sense, I enjoyed it. But of course, I wasn't able to do the great classics. The big high holiday pieces. You need more than a quartet, unless you have, if you have a piano and some instruments, then as Danny has, a phenomenal quartet. It's wonderful, and you can do the classics. But just standing there with four singers and nothing else, it just doesn't make it. Some of these pieces were made for 100 singers, and. So I went through my whole career kind of with a little, in the back of my mind, I said, boy, would it be great if especially in the 50s and the 60s and 70s, when they had all this incredible reform music that's written in a classical style. Max Helfman and Isidore Fried, and people like that. And I missed out on that because I wasn't a Reformed cantor. I always said to myself, wow, what could have been had I become a Reformed cantor? But I didn't have it. But as I got late in my career, I discovered folk music. And it was Debbie Friedman, who became my friend, who taught me about this type of music that, that sort of spawned people like you. I mean, she started this whole movement, and
it's like a revolution.
I remember singing some of her pieces in the shul, and it's crazy to sing it a cappella, but I would sing her Ledor Vador. I'd sing it in my shul, and they just liked it. I would fuse it with the Chazanut, and she made me a fan. And so I just love what you're doing. I love what Ilana's doing. And
yeah, I'm after plugging in spiritually, and I think you do that as good as anyone in the world.
It's interesting just to have this opportunity to speak about this, because we often speak about this kind of either in a school setting or kind of internally. And I'm just curious, just throwing it out, what if someone just has off the top of your head, like what do you think would be an ideal synagogue music or singing experience? Is it what you experience? And everyone has a different nostalgic idea of it, of what they felt maybe when they were a child or maybe when they went to summer camp. So I'm curious, like what are we missing? What are you wanting? What's not happening, or what is happening? What's the ideal when you come to synagogue? Does anybody have just off the top of your head?
What you're doing right now is what I enjoy. I love being able to sing
Along.
to sing along.
You want to? Does that most people resonate with that? You want to sing along with us, right? Yeah.
And I love, there's some Pete Seeger in you something.
Yeah.
And I love that when, during the service, when you were strumming and telling a story,
Yeah.
I just heard Pete Seeger. I saw his face.
It's spiritual. It's
You know,
spiritual.
we're Americans. We're Americans, and Noah is an American, and there should be an American sound in Jewish music. But Jewish music has always reflected the music of where we lived. In 17th century Italy, the music sounded like madrigals. And in Germany, they sounded like, in the 18th century, 19th century, the Jewish music sounded like Schubert. So here we are in America, new, we're Americans. There should be an American sound.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Myra, nice and loud, yeah.
I like a mishmash, eclectic. I also like to bring in from other, when we sing things that were from Spain, so Latino. Cheryl and I grew up here with Catcher Smallwood and did the folk rock group back then, but all different kind of music. I don't like that it's just one. I like the Chazanut in some songs and the jazz in others, and let us sing along.
I'm with you, Myra, in that too much of anything is too much. And I think you do. You try to weave in and out and allow for a whole lot of congregational
And
singing.
everybody has a different context, so it is challenging. Even when I was working with the cantor in Boston, Cantor Suffren, she had a different context than I had. She had a different idea. She wanted the same thing. She wanted to present a cornucopia of different styles, and for me, I wanted kind of to create a uniform sound. And so we had a difference of opinion there, but it's like we have to just create the most alive sound that we can. Yeah.
I think that we want music that's accessible. And to each of us, that's something different. I mean, the title of our prayer book is Entrances to Holiness.
Are everywhere. Yeah.
And to me, that's what the music is.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's one thing, sometimes it's another thing, and we all somehow have our access.
Yeah, and it takes each and every voice to be part of that, right? And so the communal music, it's one thing to kind of strum the guitar and sing the song, but actually the song is incomplete unless you're meeting us there, right? Your voices are an essential instrument in the band, so to speak. You know, if you're not singing with us, then it's just a melody. It could just kind of disappear. But you're needed, and so that's where Debbie Friedman and Shlomo Carlebach, they were trying to not only to just teach you new melodies, but to get it in your mouths and have you sing it. That's the important piece.
My orientation is Eastern European cantorial music. That's what I grew up with. It isn't a fad. It's been going on for about 500 years. So so my job is to try and keep it alive. It's gone. It's almost disappeared. Almost disappeared. So I'm not looking for it to become the service. I'm looking for it to have a seat at the table. That if there are 12 seats at the table, I'd like to have one of Chazanut. 2, oh my God, that'd be incredible. But at least there should be a seat at the table. And there's so many ways of doing it. One was, I showed you before, repeat after me. Another one is through simple humming. Simple humming. And we used to hum for the cantor. We were called mishorerim, singers. We would stand around the cantor and hum the chords. And you could do that too if you give me a C minor, maestro. Just hum whatever you think you should hum. Wait for me to stop. Off. Mishar Good cutoff. back to C minor. Now I want you to repeat the word. Sing the word that I sing. Repeat it and harmonize if you can. Ah, aye. How did that feel?
If I may be so bold, Jacob Collier, eat your heart out. We're gonna oh yeah, go ahead.
So I grew up with traditional Chazanut in Temple Newchester, Minneapolis, with Cantor David Schiff. And while most of the time it always sounded the same, it really felt like when I went to synagogue, I was home. I knew what I was going to hear, how I was going to feel with the incredible majesty of, yes, the a cappella music. So now, on the other hand, I didn't get to pray because I was a girl. But, and that's why I'm at a reform school and I'm learning all the things I didn't get to do. But the music, the chazanut was incredible.
And there are lots of folks who come to expect certain melodies week after week. They want to hear. It's comfort food. It's their spiritual experience. So you have to keep that in mind also. We're gonna close out with a piece that Ilana Arian offered. Rabbi Jason Fenster's installation weekend on Saturday night. We had a Havdalah in the round, kind of a Havdalah jam, similar to what we're going to be experiencing tomorrow night with Noah. We hope to see you all there at 7:30. It's going to be very special. Ahava Rabbah. Is there anything you want to say
This
about
was composed jointly
Yes.
by Noah and Ilana.
it? Together, yeah.
It was our first song we wrote together, actually. I had been doing this sort of work a little bit longer, and then she was starting to kind of emerge as a songwriter, and so I was like, let's do something together. And this was the first. We had no idea where to start, but we just sat in her apartment and we just decided to write this together. It's a call and response.
And is there anything do you want to set anything up, Dad, in a
Yeah, well,
piece of this?
At some point, Alana gave me permission, and now Noah has given me permission, to put a little schmitchy thing of chazonis in between, and the words that I'm going to say is, how deeply you have loved us, Adonai our God, gracing us with compassion, on account of our forebears, whose trust led you to teach them the laws. Okay, so check this Ahava Rabbah out, because
Ahava Rabbah.
I love this.
Ahava Rabbah.
Ahava
Ahava
Rabbah.
Rabbah.
Ahava Rabbah. And we sing this part together. Ahavtanu. Let's try it from the beginning. Ahava Rabbah.
Ahava Rabbah.
Ahava Rabbah.
Ahava Rabbah.
Ahava Rabbah. Together. Ahavtanu. Ahavtanu. Two more times like that. Ahavtanu. Ahavtanu. One more time. Ahavtanu. Adonai Eloheinu. From the beginning again. Here we go. Ahava Rabbah.
Ahava Rabbah.
Ahava Rabbah.
Adonai Eloheinu. Ahava rabavtanu Adonai Eloheinu. Chemlagnu laviterach amalta aleinu. Bavur avotenu ve'imotenu shebabtechu v'cha.
שבבטיחו בך.
Ahavavtanu Adonai Eloheinu. Chemlagnu laviterach amalta aleinu. Bavur avotenu ve'imotenu shebabtechu v'cha.
שבבטיחו בך. שבבטיחו בך. שבבטיחו בך. Adonai Elohim. Ahava Rabbah. Back to the beginning. Here we go. Let's hear you. Ahava Rabbah. Ahava Rabbah. Ahava Rabbah. Ahava Rabbah. Ahavtanu. Ahavtanu. Two more times. Ahavtanu. You have loved us. Ahavtanu. Adonai Elohim. How deeply you have loved us. 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 Adonai Eloheinu. One more time. How deeply you have loved us. How deeply you have loved us. How deeply you have loved us. Adonai
Adonai Elohim.
Adonai Eloheinu.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Noah Aronson, everybody. Chazan, Jackie Mendelson, everybody. Woo-hoo. Thank you all so much for being here. Hope to see many of you tomorrow morning at Lift at 10:30 right here and at 7:30 for the Havdalah Concert Jam. Thank you to Jess Lorden. Thank you to Allison Adler. Thank you to our whole staff. Thank you to everybody. Good night. Good Shabbos.